Hello everyone, welcome to Lockdown Sino-U. Today our topic is about the honeymoon of Sino-U.S. relations 1979 to 1989. As of January 1st, 1979, China and America established diplomatic relations. And on January 29th, Deng Xiaoping took a 9-day state visit to America and achieved great success. For the following 10 years, China and America kept closer like a honeymoon period until the June 1st incident in 1989, resulting in Western sanctions to China. With Sino-U.S. diplomacy establishment, China undertook reform and opening policy, and China was eager to learn from the West. During the decade of 1979 to 1989, over 80,000 Chinese students were sent abroad, seeing a period of weakening and transformation of China under Western influences. And the bilateral trade between China and America increased from $2.4 billion in 1979 to $12.2 billion in 1989. In December 1979, Soviet invaded Afghanistan as expanded globally. U.S. President Carter sent Defense Secretary Schlesinger to China and agreed the sales of high-tech military equipment against the Soviet. In August 1980, Ronald Reagan ran for president and a Republican candidate. Initially, he proclaimed to restore diplomatic relations with Taiwan. And meanwhile, he sent his running mate, George W.H. Bush, to China to explain his expediency in election. As to himself, he would hold one China policy and nothing changed. Reagan was born in Illinois in 1911, served in military during Second World War. He worked different jobs as a sports program commentator, lifeguard, a columnist, Hollywood actor, and governor of California. He was set as a grade 2 actor and became a grade 1 president. And his humor and wisdom impressed the public. During Reagan's first term as president, some unpleasant issues occurred between China and America, which was summed up as a 3T and a 2H. 3T referred to Taiwan issue, technology transfer and textile export. 2H as Huguang Railroad bond disputes and the case of Hunan asylum in America. During his second term, Reagan suggested a long-lasting and constructive relations with China in all the fields, which was regarded as the golden time of the two countries. And Reagan himself was proud of had been achieved in Sino-U.S. relations in his presidency. On August 17, 1982, China and America reached agreement on U.S. arms sales to Taiwan. America promised not to seek for a long-term policy of arms sales and not exceed in quality and quantity the level of recent years since the diplomatic relations, and reduce the sales gradually over a period of time to a final solution. In January 1984, Chinese Premier Zhao Ziyang visited America. In the welcome ceremony, President Reagan highly praised Zhao's reform policy. After the meeting, Reagan saw Zhao off. It was drizzling, and Reagan and Zhao each held an umbrella, walked over the lawn of White House side by side and hand in hand. A scenario of sincere friendship then. In July 1985, Chinese President Li Xiannian visited America and signed an agreement on peaceful use of nuclear energy. In April 1984, Reagan visited China and came to see the Great Wall at Beijing and the Terracotta Army in Xi'an. Reagan and Nancy enjoyed seeing the unearthed pottery horses. which were made 2,000 years ago and still so true to life. Reagan even touched the terracotta horse and joked with people around whether the horse would kick him or not. The photographers took the picture and captioned on the newspaper like the tap the horse butt of China. Through the visit, Reagan understood more about China's old civilization and a new opening policy, and got more friendly and also won his own popularity in China. At the beginning of 1989, George W.H. Bush was elected U.S. president, and he hoped to keep on better relations with China and visit Beijing soon, better before Soviet leader Gorbachev. January 7, 1989, Japanese Emperor Hirohito passed away, and the funeral would be held on February 24th. Bush decided to take this chance to have a work visit to China. Previously, American president put the priority of visiting Europe over to Asia, yet this time, President Bush reversed it and telling the coming of a new age of Asia. At Beijing, during the talk between Deng and Bush, both of them mentioned about Soviet reform and new thinking. China excluded the possibility of another Sino-U.S. alliance. Deng said China will fix on reform and opening, prevent the returning to isolation policy as before. China will not follow the Western parliamentary system nor permit any interference from America. Bush said, as an old friend of China, he was willing to see a better improvement of Sino-U.S. relations. America won't meddle in China's domestic affairs, even if different opinions exist between the two countries. He was optimistic for a bright future. President Bush was a man of great vision. In 1974, his options ambassadorial assignment to United Kingdom, France, or China, he chose China, for he realized the Sino-U.S. relations were in a critical moment and China would play more important roles in the world. During his stay at Beijing, he used to ride bicycle with his wife Barbara and all around the city and tasting all kinds of Chinese gourmet, especially his favorite, Beijing duck. Whenever he's eating at a Chinese restaurant, 5 dishes that must be ordered were Beijing duck, pepper shrimp, lamb steak, shredded beef, and stir-fried green bean, which became the famous Bush menu. Bush's family really enjoyed their pleasant memories in China, and he himself had visited China for over 22 times. On April 15, 1989, Chinese leader Hu Yaobang passed away, and some memorials were held at Tiananmen Square. Later evolved into a havoc of a students' parade and riots, which was cracked down by troops on June 4th, resulting in Western protests and sanctions. China and America suspended governmental procurement, arms sales, and military exchanges. Yet President Bush insisted on maintaining normal trade and business with China, regardless of rejections from Congress and the public. He believed business and engagement can better promote China's democracy, and the two countries cannot return to confrontation of 1950s and 1960s. He understood Chinese antipathy to foreign meddling. Bush asked his national security advisor, Brent Scowcroft, to deliver a letter to Chinese leader Deng Xiaoping via Han Xu, the current Chinese ambassador to America, expressing his concern to the situation and hope to send an envoy to Beijing. On June 30, 1989, Scowcroft and Assistant State Secretary Lawrence Eagleburg secretly visited China by military transportation plane, whose logo was covered with the pilot dressed as the civilians. The plane was concealed behind our terminal building, where the same place when President Nixon offered his plan when he visited China in 1972. Deng met with them and said he totally believed in President Bush. This incident occurred inadvertently. America had walked in and should relieve itself out of the trouble. China will never be a threat to America, and America should not regard China as its opponent. China won't copy America's political system nor meddle how Americans choose. Mutual respect and finding a way are imperative for peaceful coexistence. Schoolcraft said the two countries of China and America represent different cultures, with good relations remain since diplomacy established and mutual trade reached $10 billion. China and America might have different ways to the issues of concern, and President Bush had to take some actions under circumstances which hoped to be understood by China. After June 1st incident, U.S. Congress and the public blamed the president not so strong enough to China, and the House of Representatives passed the sanctions to China by vote of 418 to 0, a big challenge to the relations of the two countries. Then Deng put forward his guideline as China's response: observing, holding, being calm, hiding, and buying the time. China tried to avert the Sino-U.S. deadlock by keeping more trust rather than troubles, more cooperation instead of confrontation. At the same time, global situations had changed dramatically with the outbreak of Gulf War in 1990 and Soviet collapse in 1991. China, a former U.S. partner to deal with the Soviet, and came to be a potential rivalry to American interests. The Sino-U.S. honeymoon ended with a new round of confrontation, followed by Yinhe tanker incident in 1993, Taiwan Strait crisis in 1996, and China's embassy being bombed in Belgrade in 1999. The decade of 1979 to 1989 witnessed the best time or honeymoon time for China and America. With upheavals in world affairs and increase of Chinese national power, the cooperation and competition have repeated at the same time between the two big powers. Here comes the end of today's program, and thank you for your watching, and see you next time. Thank you, bye.